All right, everybody, how is it going? Thanks for tuning into the channel today. So excited to be doing the very first series of a new series that I am beginning called Beyond the Watch. And today I have on with me one of my favorite YouTube watch reviewers. I'm sure he's one of your favorites as well. It is, of course, David Schwartz, and we're going to be talking to him. There's a few questions that some of you have submitted in advance. This isn't live, this is live to tape, and so I did that so in case there were some things that came up in the conversation that perhaps maybe David didn't want to go on to the actual production end of the video once it's uploaded, we'd be able to tweak it out. But at any rate, let's bring in our guest and say hello, Mr. David Schwartz. How's it going?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you so much, Chris, for doing this, man. I'm honored to be the first guest on this kind of new series, and I just want to say, man, I am so thankful that you and I are alive today together. The paths we've crossed, in this this watch fam space. So, man, I love it, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, and just a bit of a context for everybody as far as why I chose David to be my first guest. So David is actually, as you know, we've talked about this a little bit, but the inspiration behind the actual name of the podcast or vlog or whatever you want to call this thing, because so first of all, I wanted you to be the first guest because the idea was, let's kind of get to know the reviewers a little bit, see what makes them tick. Because we often, when we're watching our YouTube channels, we see what makes the watch tick, all the basic specs of the watches and whatnot that we do. But there's not too much information a lot of the time behind the people behind the reviews. One of the things that I have loved about getting to know you and watching you is from time to time you have these windows into your life that you actually include as a part of your watch reviews. And so that most recent one, as an example, I was just like blown away.
Thanks.
By the Gallant watch that you had made, collaborated with Gallant to make this very special watch in honor of your mom. And there it is there, yeah. And turn it around so that people, if they haven't seen the review, that's David's mother's fingerprint on the case back. Oh my goodness. When you showed that in the video, I almost, I was just like, damn, this guy is I just love this guy. And you had that video of your grandfather's watch, and you set it
I got that here too.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I do believe that you set it to the date and the actual time of his passing, or what was?
Close. So basically, it's a Seiko vintage, right? And this, I believe, is a birth year, 1984, for me, and it is a date. Obviously has a lot of homage aspects to the Rolex Datejust or presidential, even with the way the bracelet is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I set the time to the date of his passing, so it's 5:03, and I need to adjust a second to where it would be 2020, 2021. So I want to put the second hand at 21 seconds. So that would be the day, month, and year of his passing.
Yeah.
The date, which is Friday the 14th, was the date of when he was actually buried in May.
Wow.
So I kind of found a way to tie those complications into a piece. And it's funny because when I wear this, I'm just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
There's a level of frustration because I use my watches and I would look down for the time and I realized, this is my grandpa's watch. Like, okay, so I got to pull out my phone or look, somewhere else for the actual time. But I love it. It's a very special piece, and it's him, right? Like, this was his style, his taste, and yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and so these snippets into, kind of your personal life, I think you are one of the very few, if not one of the only ones, that kind of allows a little bit of that to come through in your YouTube videos. And I just absolutely love that Obviously
I'm glad.
I love watches, and that's how ultimately I ended up finding your channel in the first place. Just YouTube suggesting your channel, or however that algorithm or whatever works. And when I started, getting to know you a bit and watching the actual videos that you make, and these videos that you do that give us a window into your life. Of course, the one that you did in memoriam of your mom who passed. And by the way, the reason that David and I connect a little bit too is my mom passed of ovarian cancer as well. And so I touched base with David just on Instagram Messenger, Instagram messages, and just how's it going? And kind of when I found out what your mom was dealing with, I had a similar walk with mine. And that video that you did with your mom, the memorial that you did, oh my goodness. So I want to jump into one of the questions from Omar, and there's it'll be a two-parter. I guess the first question, as far as your YouTube channel, what kind of inspired you to include those aspects of your life? Because a lot of people are very, they want to keep it quite
It's private.
private, yeah,
Yeah.
and not let people into. So what's it about you that that you did that? And I appreciate that you did that, because I absolutely love
Yeah.
those glimpses.
And I appreciate that too, man. So and part of it is this, right? Like because I couldn't come up with some witty name for my channel, right?
Right.
So, and like, I'm just gonna put my name out there. It's just gonna be me. It's people will realize that the majority of it is about watch reviews. Is why I started the channel, but it's also, I wanted to do other things, other projects, and have it be my story, if you will.
Yeah.
So I don't mind. I in fact, I like keeping it real for the viewers and for other YouTubers, and I guess we could say, other influencers. And the thing is that, like, this is me. Like, I'm, just, we're people, right? Everybody who does is in the YouTube space or whatever space. Like, they all have lives that are probably similar and yet very different from your own. And it's just another way to kind of relate and give people like other things to look at, other ways to see even watches, for example. And I did a video with my dog, just kind of talking about my dog, like way back in when I started, just because I didn't have enough watches to do other content, but I wanted to do something, put something out there, So there's a level of entertainment, but also like, kind of peeking behind the curtain and seeing what I'm about, what I like, if there's anything I can do to help. I did a video talking about one of the cars I owned, changing the brakes on a Lexus, because no one else did a video, and the one that was out there was garbage. So I'm like, I could do this. Let me help other people. And it has nothing to do with watches, and yet people have hit me up. Hey, thanks. Hey, what about this? And so there's just like different things like that I was really into when I started out. And shout out to Omar, by the way. Hashtag Tutor Bros. I knew he was going to be. There you go. So Omar's great. I'll help him hit 1,000 subs, by the way. I'm gonna plug his channel. So he's
Timeless Sneakers and Watches. Great.
I appreciate the question.
Great channel. Yeah. So that was that was my question. His question we'll get to, but first, before we do that, now we're going beyond the watch, but obviously we're going to talk some about watches. So you've already shown two. Are you wearing the 50 Fathoms today, you glorious bastard, you, or what? Are you doing it?
Yeah, I'm so predictable, huh? I am deep in the honeymoon phase. Look at this beauty.
So how long did you have it on that time grapher when you put it on Instagram? 0 seconds per day, zero beat error.
0 to +1, 0 beat error. Here's the funny thing. I'll randomly, because it's got a 5-day power reserve, 120 hours, 120 hours. And I'll let it sit there for like a day or two, and then I'll go throw it on the time graph just to see, and I'll like twist it and put it in a different position, because it's regulated 6 position. And so it's funny, because at first it's kind of like all crazy, and then like as soon as it settles down, it's just like 0 to +2, but
That's
usually
incredible.
+1. I mean, an amazing watch. I still can't believe.
And so was that when you put it on the time grapher then? So it was not only fully wound at one, well, like when you had the video on Instagram or whatever, was that fully
Yeah.
wound, or was that a
No, that was
little?
me wearing it for throughout the day. It probably was fully wound because I had
Yeah,
been wearing it. So I took it off and threw it on there. But the thing about the three barrels is it evens out the drop off point, because with an automatic, as many, and we're talking watches, right? So
yeah, yeah,
a single, like your common automatic, is going to run a little fast when it's fully wound and maybe a little slower towards the end of the power reserve.
yeah. That's
And
what
with
I
the
was kind of
three
wondering. Yeah,
Yeah, and with the way the three main barrels is, it spreads it out. So and I've noticed too, the strength of it, the amplitude is a little weaker. It's not right at 300 or so, and I think that's part of it, I'm assuming, but that it's kind of balancing that out over time over the full spectrum. So
yeah.
yeah,
All right. And
it's crazy, man.
so we did our shout out to Omar and the Tudor Bros, and
Yes, sir.
because I'm with you today.
What do you got?
Hashtag Tudor ugly cousin.
Nah, hey man, that San Martin, yes, I love that they came out with that homage piece, man.
And I don't know if they're available to buy right now.
Really?
Yeah, well, the last time that I looked it up, probably when I did the review video, it was actually unavailable on the San
Dang.
Martin store. They sold out pretty
It's a
quick.
hot
I picked
that's
it up
probably
on
one of the
the
hottest Tudor models right now. So I could see that being a high demand.
Yeah, and I picked it up on the 11/11 sale in November, and I actually didn't get it until I might not have even came before Christmas. So
Yeah, I
when
think
I did
so.
the video, they were all sold out. So all right, so Omar's
Great watch, man.
question.
Yeah.
So my question is why you added the personal journey to your YouTube videos? Because one of the favorite videos even I did was one where I talked about my grandfather serving
Hmm.
in the Canadian Navy with the Sangamon watch that I reviewed, their
Yeah.
Omaha Beach one. And I don't know. I'm a people person, and so
Right.
that's anyway. So here's Omar's question. What motivates you to keep reviewing watches? We're going to get beyond the watch in a minute. Of course, we're going to talk about watches. This is what we are. But what motivates you to keep reviewing watches and putting in the work it takes to be on YouTube? Like, what motivates you to do that?
That's a great question. I think it's helping people is what motivates me to keep doing it. And that's the thing, right? Like, I have definitely moved up market from when I started my channel, which is probably a bad thing. My wife is not a fan of that aspect, right? That I'm going from spending $50 to $100, $200 to like thousands upon thousands of dollars, which is nuts. Um, if you can get out while you can. It gets worse. So there's that to help people, right? And the thing, even with the Blancpain as an example, the 5015, there's reviews on the watch, but there's no like real life aspect. It's always some company that's selling the watch, or they're talking
Yeah,
about the specs of it or the history of it. But there's not really a video out there of like, what's it like on the wrist, on the day-to-day wearing? Like, give me some real feedback. And
yeah,
so I will, man, when I drop the video on this, I'll share all of its pros and cons, and just like any other watch. So I think that's what kind of keeps me motivated. And there's new things that are always coming out, new models, and that's important too, because it's one thing I've learned in being in a space, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is we review things when they're new. They come in and we unbox
yeah.
it and we like, man, this is awesome. But I think what's more important is to do those follow-up reviews. It's still awesome, or hey, this didn't work out.
Yeah, and I know, like with the Christopher Ward watch that I got, that I'm hopefully going to be dropping on Tuesday.
Sweet.
Up here in Canada, at least where I live right now, has had a nasty winter storm going 3 days running.
Uh,
I couldn't leave the house today. Yesterday, I couldn't leave the house if I wanted to. Thursday and Friday, driving home from work, I almost didn't make it home.
yeah, it's
we
scary,
just
man.
we just got hit.
This almost didn't
But
happen.
there were some, when I wear the watch, I play with it. I play with the crown. I wind it. What I mean? And I don't just wind it and then wear it. I'll take it off, unscrew the crown, wind it, adjust the date. Like I fiddle, and I've noticed a few little things, even just in wearing it for a week, that are definitely going to be not negatives, but they're slight drawbacks to the actual watch. And so yeah, it's I like the reviews where people have had some hands-on experience, and it's not just a like a promotion for the watch, or
Yeah.
Or for lack of a better word, an advertisement for the watch. Like that,
Right.
there's some real genuine feedback because of the person wearing it. So that's what I'm trying to do as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Finding the motivation too, like for putting in the work, that's a challenge also, because remember, this is a hobby for a lot of us, and YouTube does not pay my bills. Um,
Yeah.
so the motivation tends to come from things that are meaningful. Those watches, I mean, or those videos I did with these pieces that are extremely um, special to me. I mean, I'll take the time it takes to do that. I'll spend weeks if I have to of shooting B-roll, writing out the script, making it perfect, because to me that video, whether it gets a lot of views or not, is something that is meaningful to me. And I think that comes through in some of the work that I do, and you can tell which ones I filmed quick and which ones I put a lot of effort into. And that's one thing I really want to improve is less is more. And
Right.
it's okay to take a break. I was so afraid when my mom was sick that I wasn't uploading videos for a couple months, and I was afraid I was going to just lose all these subs, and it was just my channel was going to die, right? And it didn't happen. I was still getting views, I was still gaining subscribers, and I wasn't doing anything. So, you got to realize too that it's okay to take a break. It really is.
Yeah, and so this will fall in line with from Steve F. Watches. I'm not sure necessarily who that is, but he says asking advice for beginner YouTubers and working with brands. What would you
Yeah.
say?
Okay, so Steve's really cool. He actually loaned me one of the homages of the Omega No Time to Die
Oh, nice.
um, watch to compare with the real Omega. So shout out to Steve. I think he was Ali Homages was his channel name before, and he changed it.
Oh,
Really great
yeah,
guy.
that one I
Yeah,
recognize. Okay.
yeah. So that's Steve. So advice for beginner YouTubers and working with brands. So let me just summarize it with this: with working with brands, if you reach out to them, they're in control. If they reach out to you, you're in
Hmm.
control.
Interesting. Yeah.
And it's completely true. And maybe not being greedy, right? Like don't try and take advantage of that, but just be real and know that, this takes time out of your schedule, and you need to um, make sure that what you're getting is worth what they're offering, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, Also, for beginner YouTubers, don't get discouraged when you start. Nobody knows who you are. The YouTube algorithm isn't going to promote your channel whatsoever unless you're going to pay for advertising and marketing, right?
Yeah.
So it does take time to build that up, and that's okay. But I personally think you have to constantly put the effort to better your video. If I look at your channel, I should be able to see from 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever the time frame is, an improvement in your quality or in your layout or your whatever it may be, your equipment, something, right? Because that's what's going to allow your channel to continue to grow, and people are going to want to subscribe to you, and they'll see the improvement, and that's, you don't have to spend a lot of money. I'll give you a perfect example with Eve,
Yeah.
alias Eve Dan channel. Like, dude, she has, I saw her behind the scenes setup. We talked a bit, but she makes up for all of that with her creativity. And that's the thing that sets her apart. Her channel is very different from
Yeah.
any other YouTuber I know.
Alias Eve. Yeah. Great channel.
Another shout out. I feel like we're
Great
plugging
channel.
everybody. We're
Yeah.
sending
Yeah.
lots of love.
Yeah. One of these days, we'll hopefully talk to her as well on this if she's willing to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great, man.
Yeah, I found that for me, yeah, I don't know anything. I still don't know anything much about YouTube, and so one of uh, the great things for me in my journey has been connecting with people like yourself, um, Adrian, somewhere in time, watch
Yeah,
reviews. Shout out to him.
she's great. Right on.
Got to know him fairly early on, and he was watching one of my videos where I had at the very beginning of the video. It's when I got my graphic, like that intro graphic that I use,
Right.
which I just pulled off of. I paid like $6 for it or something like that. Like,
Okay.
so I
Yeah.
wanted a cool intro, and but I put the music under it when the channel started of Clocks by Coldplay. So it's like
Hmm.
bum 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 bum, and I thought, oh,
And you
this is
got to
really
you
cool, really cool.
immediately getting flagged for copyright.
Exactly. Well, I
Yeah.
see, and I tried to do it under 30 seconds because my understanding was if you use music, as long as you don't use 30 seconds, but that wasn't true at
That's
all.
not the case. Yeah.
Because I did a video where I was doing Mark's Shark,
Okay.
Seiko, yeah,
Islander. Yeah.
Islander, and I did this little dream sequence with with Super Cali, my caliper tool, but
Yeah.
I had Jaws playing, and unless I mute
I
that
think I
out,
remember seeing that. Yeah.
yeah, it's just so anyway. So Adrian sees this video, and we have only at that point talked, a couple of times, maybe on Instagram messages and just back and forth in the comments. And he sends me a message on Instagram saying, "Hey, don't want your channel to get flagged for copyright, blah 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 blah. I
Yeah.
noticed you had some music by Coldplay. Um, I'll write you some music if you're interested in having some music for your channel." I'm like, holy
That's
crap.
amazing, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So huge shout out to my pal Adrian. And like I said, yeah, sure. And he's like, so you like Coldplay and, something like that kind of a vibe. I'm like, "Yeah, man, whatever you come up with, I'm sure will be cool. And I do use it in my videos, not every
It is
single
cool.
video,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
His music's awesome, man.
So
So and
just
I was
connecting with other YouTubers, and
right.
I always kind of I watch your videos. Omar is just incredible with his photography, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Dude, Omar's killing it, man.
and I never feel, I guess my advice would be don't feel like I could easily go, oh my goodness, my channel sucks. you know,
Yeah. No, you can't
I've
think like
I've
that.
got, I look at these kind of guys that are doing like really quality videos and go like that's something I can work up to.
Yep.
And
And you
then
should. And
yeah,
that's like, look at my first video. It's terrible.
yeah,
So and it's
yeah,
long and it's like brutal to get through. I'm like, gosh, and yet it has tons of views, right? So I've thrown out videos that I'm like, this is gonna suck. No one's gonna watch this, and it blows up. So
yeah,
yeah, you never know, man, like what's gonna happen. But I was gonna say the problem too that a lot of YouTubers starting out don't know with the music, because you can use it, you can do whatever you want. The problem is once you get monetized, all
yeah,
those videos now you can't take advantage of,
yeah,
and you're making money for someone else now instead of yourself. So it is
yeah,
very that's a very good lesson to share with people starting out is don't use copyrighted material, do your own thing. It'll pay off in the long run for sure.
yeah. And the intro music to this very video was from YouTube Studio, and you just go to your YouTube Studio and scroll down, and there's like a section of free music,
Yeah, just use
and
that.
I like that little jazz riff, right? So I'm like, that's cool. And and it says right on there when you click on the info, you can use it without some of the music that you find in YouTube Studio. They'll want you to give attribution to, the artist. This one's like, just go ahead and use it, man. So I'm
Yeah,
like, cool,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah,
exactly.
we've talked some about watches. I want to get beyond the watch now.
Let's do
Let's
it.
get into you. So when we do watch reviews, we always usually at the start of the video or early on in the video give the basic specs about the watch, and so I want to know the basic specs about the man, David Schwartz. So
Right on.
and as much as you are comfortable, obviously sharing age, where you live, where you grew up, how big was your family growing up. You're married, I know that. How long you've been married?
Hmm.
Just give us
Yeah,
the
yeah,
basic specs of Mr. Schwartz.
absolutely. Okay, so I'm 37 years old. I'll be 38 this year in
Wow,
August.
just a
I'm a
young buck.
Leo. I guess, man, I'm a baby. I'm a baby in the baby pool.
Yeah,
So, um, I've grown up in Texas. So I was actually born in Galveston, but I've lived in Texas my whole life. Here, in San Antonio, people know that already. I've thrown it out there.
Okay.
So pretty much lived here most of my life, or I'm sorry, my whole life. But I've traveled a little bit um, within Texas, and my family. Okay, so I'm people probably don't know this. Obviously, the last name Schwartz. I am a Wexican American, so I'm half white and I'm half Hispanic.
Wexican.
My so my mom's side of the family is the Hispanic side.
Yeah.
Her maiden name is Rodriguez, right? If we want to get real technical, my grandmother's maiden name is Lomas. So that side of my family all lives here, and that I was raised by my Hispanic side of the family. My
Yeah.
dad's side, the white side, he's from Oregon. They all live up in the Pacific Northwest, Montana, states like that. So my upbringing was very Hispanic, that culture. Um, I have four, well, so it was my mother and three siblings. So I have two other aunts and an uncle. I only have one sibling, my sister, and none
Okay.
of them had children. So it was just me and my sister growing up. We didn't have cousins. We didn't have
Oh,
um,
okay.
a
Yeah.
whole lot of family our age. So I'm very close with my aunts and uncles and their spouses because they, basically were the ones playing with us outside and doing all these family events together. So they're all incredibly special people. My sister and I are getting closer now. She's 2 years older than me. So when we grew up,
Oh, okay.
as kids, we had similar interests, but as we became teenagers and adults, our interests were very different. She's got two kids, my niece and nephew, incredible, amazing kids. So it's like we're starting to now hang out a bit more.
Right on.
Now, my wife, because I know you asked about her, I've been married for 7 years. This past
Oh,
December,
nice.
yeah,
Congrats, man.
thanks. So it's
So 30, you were 30 then when you got married?
yeah, yeah, I
Nice.
was, and my wife's a few years younger than me, but dude, I still kind of can't believe knowing how I was younger, that I was able to ever mature enough to be marriage material, I guess we could say. So yeah, my wife she's incredible, man. She saved my life in many ways. So
Wow. Okay. So, um, you've been married 7 years. How did you meet your wife? Tell me about that.
yeah, let me give you the short version for the sake of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we met in undergrad, and I remember walking into
What's your wife's
this
name, by the
room.
way? Can you share that
Yeah,
or
yeah. Her name is Selena. Yeah,
Selena? Oh, okay. Nice.
yeah. So there's this thing in college, and let me see how I can best explain this. So there's a thing called the proximity effect, right? Which this is a term that I don't know if it's a real term, something me and my friends shared, but basically it means when you're in a classroom setting or in a closed environment setting, a work center, whatever it is, that there will be like a person you deem as the most attractive in that group.
Okay. Sure.
But as soon as you walk out into the hallway and it's between class periods and this plethora of people, and now all of a sudden that's not maybe the case, right? And
Yeah.
it's not to say that people are ugly, or I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
you'll notice it a bit more in a smaller setting. Okay, so I walk into my genetics lab. We're just starting out, and I'm kind of like, I scan the room and I see this girl sitting at one of the lab tables, just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm like, dang, okay, but like not everyone's here, but I'm gonna go sit down next. Like I'm pretty sure this is the one. So I sit next to her or across from her at the table, and we're talking, right? And other people come in, and so we end up obviously that day, whoever was at your table ends up being your lab group, so to speak.
Good
Now,
move. Good move,
I
Schwartz
definitely
man.
had an interest in her, right? But I also was in a relationship and she was in a relationship. So
Oh, okay.
there
Okay.
was no like nothing's going to happen, but I want to get to know this girl. Um Long story short, I become very good friends with her roommate. And me and her roommate are just strictly friends, but I would always ask every time we go out because we were partying. Me and her roommate were party buddies, and I'd be like, "Hey, call Selena. Tell Selena to come out." And Selena would never. I think maybe one time she came out to one of the bars. Just she was in the books, strong focus. And she would never come out. And I realized that her friend, I think, had a thing for me because one time I kept asking, and she's like, "Why do you keep asking for her to come out? Do you like her?" And I'm like, "Bro, yeah, dude, like put in a good word, what the heck?" And after that, we never hung out anymore. So it's pretty obvious. I was like, "Oh." uh, so fast
Uh-huh.
forward, I get my life together. I'm maturing, and we lost contact for a few years. And I remember seeing on Facebook,
So we're
like,
talking
how,
post college university now.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we'd already moved on. And I'm not sure the number of years that had gone by, but basically we reconnected through Facebook, and I messaged her and I was like, "Hey, long time no see. Like, you popped up in that like recommended whatever." And we were just catching up, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to go grab lunch?" And she's like, she kind of kept giving me like excuses. And I think her thinking was that I wanted to hang out with her and her roommate. And I was just like, "No, like just you and me. Let's just go grab a bite." Right. She finally was like, "Okay." And so we met. We had a really nice lunch, and she saw how much I guess I had changed, which worked out in my favor. We were no longer in relationships, and so we started hanging out a lot more. And then it started like her sister was. We went out to a dinner, and she's just dressed like amazing, right? And they're like, "Oh, you're going on a date?" And she's like, "No." They're like, "You're dressed the way you're dressed. You are
Yeah,
going
you're
on a
going on a
date."
date. Yeah,
Like, yeah. So
yeah.
we kind of like progressed from there, and
She was
then
playing a little bit hard to get then.
absolutely, man, but worth it, 100%. So yeah, that's the short version. There's
So
so much
when
that
you
happened
guys
in
when you
between.
guys got reconnected social media wise, and then hey, how far apart were you at that? Were you like in fairly close proximity? Did you have to drive an hour to meet, or
Oh
like?
yeah, no, we were still, yeah, I would say like 20 minutes away as far as
Oh,
distance. She was still
nice.
here, in San Antonio, and me. We just kind of lost touch, so to speak, over the years. Yeah, crazy.
So you said something that really interested me when you were talking about, you know, as far as you needing to mature a little bit. But you said that she saved you.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me about
She sure
that.
did,
How
man.
how did how did she do that?
So the thing is, dating her, I just wanted to spend as much time with her as I could. I didn't care where it was. If we go to a 24-hour diner and we just talk and hang out, um, and in this case, she went to church every Sunday, and so she had invited me. And I mean, I was raised Roman Catholic, like got all my sacraments growing up, and but I wasn't a big church guy. I didn't really go, and I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, I'll be there. Like, let me pick you up." So she kind of brings me back just because I'm wanting to spend time with her in a
Sure.
selfish way.
Yeah.
But then I start to kind of, I guess, realize like I'm hearing these gospels. I'm more open to it, and re it rekindled that kind of faith. So that's what I mean when I say she saved me, because that kind of changed our whole path together, even, and going through our marriage and engagement and all these things. And
Yeah.
even to this day, dealing with my mother, like, um, I could not have done it in any other way. And so I'll always be grateful for that from her.
Wow. So
Yeah.
this is fascinating because, again, you and I are kind of connecting to a similar story. So I'll tell you mine real quick. So
Yeah. Go for it.
my wife and I are high school sweethearts.
Nice.
Um, we met in I want to say grade 11 music class.
Hmm.
The very first thing she said to me, we're in music class. They go, go get your instruments or whatever. I go to get my trumpet. I played the trumpet in high
Okay.
school growing up there, and I grabbed number 7. Like the trumpet case had the 7 on it.
Okay.
And she yelled at me. She said, "That's my trumpet." It's like I'm like,
Dang. Yeah.
"All right, have it." you know. So anyway, um, her brother and my sister were good friends.
Hmm.
My sister's like 6 years older than me, so I only have one sibling as well. She's quite a bit
Okay.
older.
Yeah.
And so then her brother asked my sister to ask me if, they were kind of like playing hookup because I guess
Yeah.
she liked me or whatever, and so she gave me a call because my sister said, yeah, Chris, I'm like, yeah, she's a nice girl. Like, it wasn't like I walked into the room and centered her out or anything. It's just kind of the way that the circumstances fell into place. And
Hmm.
she called me up. And unfortunately, the first time that she called me, I had to go to a hockey practice. Like, I had to leave in like 10 minutes.
I gotta go.
And so I'm like, yeah, I took the call and I'm like, I got to go to
Yeah.
hockey. And she was like, oh, he's blowing me off. And
Yeah,
so
bro.
I said, well,
I can already imagine.
I'll call you when I get back. And we started talking to each other, and then just talking on the phone, started hanging out. So her family is very, quote unquote religious.
Hmm.
She was kind of in rebellion dating me because I was not at the time
Yeah,
religious at all. Like
just weren't into it.
I didn't have a religious bone in my body, and so January of whatever year it was, my wife, end of January, says, you want to come over to my place for Christmas dinner? And I'm like, okay. It's kind of late for Christmas dinner, isn't it? And just through circumstances, they couldn't do Christmas dinner.
Hmm.
And so I didn't know much about her family. I didn't know much about, like, I knew she went to church, but I didn't really know a whole lot about how seriously devoted they were to their faith. And
Sure.
so they got this spread, and we're dishing our plates and passing on the items, and I just start I just start eating.
You start chowing.
I just start I just start chowing down, and one of the first words that my father-in-law says to me is, "We haven't said grace yet, you idiot."
Oh my gosh, man.
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
What a first impression. No, like
I'm
for
like,
Christmas
oh my
dinner.
gosh. So we say grace, and then that kind of sparks me just talking to Patty, my wife at the time, my girlfriend. Like, what's your family all about? And we won't get into it on this podcast, but I had a profound conversion experience that was definitely influenced by her family in regards to showing me what deeply devoted people look like.
Right.
And I came to it all on my own. I wasn't, it was influenced for sure by them, but I came to it on my own. And it was something that my wife didn't want. She didn't want me to be, you know, become a Christian person. She was kind of wanting me to be the bad boy.
Right.
and
I
uh,
feel you.
and I
Yep.
turned into an okay boy. I don't, so, but
Got a good
yeah,
blend. Yeah.
yeah. And one of the things that I kind of learned about you as we got to know each other, and even just through your YouTube channels, is how I would define you based on what I know about you, like the two really most important things to you, faith and family.
Absolutely,
So
man.
you talked a little bit about your faith, but talk to me about you know those values and how they've formed who you
Sure.
are, formed who you
Yeah.
are today.
Man, like this is the thing. I guess I didn't realize what helped me realize through faith is the incredible blessings that we have. And
Hmm.
a lot of people I think chalk it up to luck or um I was born in the right this or that, or I'm unlucky and so I'm unloved in this way. And it's like, it's easy to just blow that off. And I think when you realize, oh, hang on, if you just listen and pay attention, you understand the incredible blessings that we're given, these gifts. And it's not to say that life is all ups. It's not.
Yeah.
There's a
No.
lot of downs. I've had
You've
almost
been
rock
through them.
bottom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like been there, done that. The problem is you have to use that to become better and stronger. Everyone's going to go through loss and everyone's going to go through love, and you can either let those moments break you down or build you up. It's as simple
Yeah.
as that. But you can't do it alone. To think you can is very naive in my opinion. And these are just my opinions, my thoughts, right?
Yep.
But I've in working with my church and working with my wife in these roles, because I'm part of the Knights of Columbus council here. I'm a third degree, And I've met
Oh,
some
okay.
incredible people. I've led a couple of Acts retreats. I've also led a life teen retreat, been on team for that. And you interact with these people in a completely different way. And you also see that it, it's not all sunshine and rainbows in the church either, right? Like nobody's perfect. And so you
Yeah.
see these things and you realize, okay, when my wife and I got married the first year, we went on a marriage retreat and we were the only couple that had been like married 1 year, right? And all these other couples had been married decades. And you see the things they were struggling and you learn these lessons and you realize how easy it is to take somebody for granted or to put your kids first and impacts your relationship with the person that, in my opinion, I'll never forget seeing my wife, the doors open and she's walking, right? And it just that moment, I'll never forget. And it's easy to, right? Like I don't go looking
Mm,
through my wedding pictures every day,
yeah.
but when the times are challenging, you got to kind of reset and remember these are the vows I took. This is the woman that I, if for my religion with the Catholics, like we are in union together
Yeah.
through God, right? There's there's so much more like the divorce rate and stuff, all these things you worry about, and it's just when you realize how important these people are, it just changes you, man. I don't know how better I could say that. I could definitely say it better, but
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people don't, I'm a minister. I'm not in full-time ministry anymore. But when I do weddings and I counsel people, I think a lot of the problems that people face in relationships is, really just idealism, right? And most people don't realize that, if you're married for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to be married to, a different person after 5 years. You're going to be a different
right,
person after 5 years. There's no
right,
such thing as being the same, two people. Like in
yeah,
many ways, you know what I mean? But like
you're growing together, like
you're
essentially,
growing and there's different things can take place, and you add grief and pain or other things into the mix. And like marriage is, I've always taught it's a commitment. It's not based on, when you get started, it's based on a lot of very positive, gushy,
right,
amorous feelings, right? Like,
right.
but when you live through married life, there are years, there are seasons, there are moments of pain and suffering and annoyance, and
Mhm.
and
Monetary
that's
struggles, money's a big
yeah,
thing. There's,
yeah. And then
the,
when
and
you yeah, and like, and I always say, when you stand at an altar in a traditional Christian wedding, if you will, I don't know what other religions do or whatever, but it's the traditional vow of I do take you in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, for richer, for poor, for better,
Mhm.
for worse. It's these commitments are not emotion based. They're this is how I'm going to commit my life to you. And because there are going to be times when the emotion of love isn't there, and you want to throw, you want to kill your spouse, but it's just, and I think that idealism that it's always going to be a bed of roses, so to speak, is what really throws a lot of people. And in my pre-marriage counseling, I was like, what are you going to do when this happens? How are you
Yeah,
going? What are you going to do when this happens? What are you going to do with, if this is your passion now, your dream in 5 years? Well, what if that dream doesn't pan out, and
yeah.
you need a new dream? And people are like, oh, okay, never thought of
Never
that.
thought of that. Yeah, I don't
And
have a
that and
plan
that
B.
and
Yeah.
that's why 50% or more, end in divorce or whatever. So
I think so. I
big
think that
reason anyway.
it's the attitude you have going into it, and also knowing the person before you go into it, right?
Yeah,
And realizing, I blame a lot of movies, media, social media, like on
yeah,
this. It's kind of this enchanted version of everything, and then you realize like that's just not life, like
yeah,
it's not how it works. I remember telling my wife when we had the mountain of debt, like when we got married, we just had a ton of student loans and just stuff, right? And I remember we hammered down. We paid off all our debt within, I think it was like 18 months. And we really booked at it and got it all paid down. It was the best decision we ever made. But I remember my wife, like her being kind of stressed out, and we were talking, and she was just worried about like, well, what's going to happen if we, this or that, and are we ever going to be able to get a home and this? And I remember just telling her like, all of this is just stuff. The cars, the furniture, it's just stuff. And the two things that I can promise you is that we will never be homeless, and we'll never be starving. We might have to sell everything, give it all up. I'm okay with that. But we have friends and we have family. So we're never going to be in that position, right? And I feel for those who are or aren't, able to be in the same kind of have a safety net, so to speak, under them. So yeah, I mean, there's certain things you just got to be real about.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on. So let's get a little lighthearted here for a minute, because it's been serious. It's been serious. It's been real.
Yeah. We're keeping it real 100.
So and I'm going to be totally candid with you. When I first saw your videos, or very early on, may the Schwartz be with you. And I'm like, yeah, he's capitalizing on the last name. I thought it was a little bit cheesy, but at the same time, that's your last name. But what
it is, man.
Junior high, how many times did you hear, is your Schwartz bigger than mine?
Actually, so my whole life, even elementary school.
Thanks to Spaceballs.
Thank you, and a great movie, man. I think it would suck if I didn't like Star Wars or Spaceballs. Like, it would be very annoying, but I love it. I eat it up. And I see it coming a mile away.
Oh, of course.
So it's like, I expect it half the time. But it's great, man. And I definitely cheesy capitalized on that, because it's so, why wouldn't I? It's the Schwartz. Like, may the Schwartz be with you. And also with you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man, and that is
a lot.
That is
my whole childhood, man. Yeah, growing up, I heard it.
And my kids, when they were, well, how old? It's one of those movies where there's definitely some, innuendos and whatnot.
Right.
And they were young enough that they didn't understand them, but I showed, and they love that movie. It's such a great movie.
It's a great parody.
Yeah.
It's done so well. Like, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, what do you do? You went to college. What do you do for a living? Like, what's your job? And what do you love about your career? And what is it that you do? I'm a minister. A lot of people know that.
Yeah.
But I'm also a full-time custodian. So what is it that you
I keep a lot of things. I do give a lot. I show a lot right behind the scenes, but I do keep some stuff private. And so my work and employment is something that I don't disclose.
There you go. Okay.
I will share this. I started working when I was 15. My first job was Blockbuster Video, an amazing first job to have as a teenager. And I worked with my best friends, and it was an incredible, like, you had to be 18 to work at Blockbuster. I wasn't even 16. They hired me at 15, which is just, it blew my mind. Right. And so
very cool
to be in that, and I joke with my wife, I'm like, I've been working since I was 15. I need a break, She's like, whatever, dude. Like, but, customer service was a big part of that, and sales. And so it just kind of was the beginning of my, I'm a people person, and I handle angry people well, right? Like give me an irate customer and I'll turn them around and I'll spin them 10 times and send them back, and they'll be completely confused and like, wait, what just happened? So I ran my dad's business for a while here in town. I was like 18, 19. Took some breaks between employment. I've been in the banking side. I've been in the insurance side of things the longest. And I've worked with some of the top companies in my city and even in the country. So I've seen a lot. I've been exposed to a lot of different things. But I'm ready for a change. I'm actually kind of thinking of a complete career path change. So I might even start my own business. We'll see, man. But I wish I could give you more details.
Along the same line, or just totally different?
Something completely different. Maybe, I mean, something where I can utilize my strengths, but
yeah.
I'm so burned out with the other industries I was in. Yeah. So
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right
cool.
on.
But
Okay, so a couple more questions. I don't know how long this has been great. I don't know how long we've been talking.
hey,
I kind
you
of,
can always chop it up later, bro.
I
Like
don't
we could just
know.
talk.
I don't know. I think I originally said let's talk for about 30, 40
45
minutes.
minutes.
And
Yeah.
we burned that up pretty quick. We're into an
We
hour
did.
anyway. But
Yeah.
a couple more questions, and then we're going to do the a homage to the Colbert questionnaire. Those
Right
of you
on.
that watch Stephen Colbert know maybe what that is, and it's not. It's a Pagani. It's a complete copy of it. So we're gonna do that.
There you go.
So if you could go anywhere in the world right now with your wife, let's say, where would you go and why?
Okay. I think I would go to Aruba,
Aruba.
and
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the reason being is, dude, I met this guy Brian Trump, who I've shouted him out so much in my channel and my videos. This guy is so charismatic, and I remember the first time he commented, I took his comments like offensive because I was all homage watches I was starting with, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey man, do you like maybe have a Seiko or anything? You know, like not an homage." And like, but it came off through text. I was like, "Screw this guy!" Like, so I was kind of like, let me buy what I want to buy, and we started talking, and because I realized he was just legitimately curious, and
Yeah.
so we connected, and um, we did like a collaboration, and we've just started talking about watches, and we hit each other up through WhatsApp, and just an incredible guy, man. I connect with him on so many different things, and like I said, we're so far apart, and that's the beauty of YouTube and these projects and going down this path is you connect with people around the world.
Yeah.
And I'm like hearing about his life there in Aruba, and I think, gosh, it sounds beautiful. It sounds like, a little piece of heaven on earth that you get to experience. And so if I could ever travel there, I absolutely want to. And I told him, bro, if you ever, you and your wife, your family, if y'all come up to Texas, I will host you, show you an amazing time, right? Like, so that's where I would want to go. My wife would probably pick Bora Bora because she really likes those French Polynesian islands.
Oh
I think
wow.
am I right? I'm terrible with geography too, man. I'm terrible at a lot of stuff. All right.
I've heard of Bora Bora, but no clue where that would be.
Yeah. It looks amazing. So that I know that that's what she would pick as far as traveling somewhere.
Yes.
But it just hasn't happened yet. So someday.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife and I are coming up to 24 years this year of marriage.
Right on. Gosh, man, that's amazing.
For 25, I was actually, well, with COVID and everything, I was actually going to try and surprise her with a trip for Christmas. So I got in contact with the, I thought I don't want to do this kind of on my own as far as,
like planning it out.
yeah, I want to, like I called our our local CAA, which would be AAA, I guess, for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just said, look, I want to take my wife somewhere. It's got to be hot, and so she likes Sandals Resorts anytime she's seen them, and so
there you go.
Got some prices on Sandals Resort in Jamaica.
Beautiful, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully for our 25th anniversary coming up in a year and a bit, we got married in September. When did you and Selena get married? What?
Yeah.
Month?
So we had a December wedding.
December. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on 24, and then if I could go anywhere with her, I would go there.
For Jamaica.
For purely ancestral reasons, I have to go to Scotland before I die, because that's my ancestors on my side of the family.
Cool.
Are shipbuilders from Glasgow.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. And that's the place to go, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I don't know, much about Scotland, but my great grandfather came over, and then my grandfather they stayed in shipbuilding, and my grandfather was a shipbuilder in a place called Collingwood, Ontario, where they built the MS Chichiman, which is a fairly major ferry boat that does trips in the Georgian Bay area where I live.
They still operational?
The shipbuilding company, I don't think is, but
Okay.
the Chichimon still
That
is.
was
Yeah,
still there. That's great,
yeah,
man. Cool.
yeah.
So you got a
So
lot of that's awesome to hear the history behind that. And when you go to Scotland, I'm gonna put in an order for some scotch. You have to sneak it, smuggle it back in for me, and then. But that's awesome. Yeah, I think that would be a very cool place to go, especially for you and the personal history, right? Like the ties. I think that'd be great.
yeah, and you know, I love that movie with Mike Myers, where he's what is it? So I married an axe murderer, where his dad, is like, if it's not Scottish, it's crap.
Yeah,
That's like that's a line I use with Simon and Adrian all the time when I'm talking to
that's
them.
great. Yeah.
So listen,
Right on.
man, let's do this. There's one question here before we do like the Colbert questionnaire. I know we've been talking at least an hour, maybe a little over an hour, and it's been awesome. Um, and let me just see there was one that I wanted to ask us. Yeah, and then we'll do like the Colbert questionnaire thing. So
Okay.
aside from necessities, like basic necessities, what one thing could you not go a day without?
Oh man,
It's a good one, eh?
that is a good one. I'd have to say music.
Oh yeah.
Like, man, I love music with a passion. Playing music, yes. Listening to music and discovering new music. I love everything. They if you saw like my history of the stuff I listen to on YouTube or anything, you'd probably be like, "Who is this person?" Like this, it looked like a phone that got passed around, and everyone was just listening to random stuff. Um, yeah, music would be the one thing, and then vinyl specifically. I got into vinyl a couple years ago and got in deep, pretty heavy. Um, and
Cool.
so I've kind of gone through this phase of collecting, but I want my vinyl collection to be a lot of obscure, some more rare, less known things. Because there's
Okay.
so much good music. Everyone has, like, okay, and this isn't to say anything negative,
Yep.
but like everyone who collects records or CDs and stuff, they're going to have the heavy hitters. You're going to have your Pink Floyd. You're going to have your Miles Davis. You're going to have all these like common big, pieces of music that
Yep.
are very important, right, in history. But I try to go for things that are a little less known. So I'll give you an example, and I have some here because I knew you're going to be asking questions. So
Ah, cool, cool.
check it out. These are a few of my rarer or more heavy hitter pieces. This album, okay, 15. This is a punk band from Berkeley, California, and
Oh, never heard of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're very. I listened to this a lot in high school and college, and so 15. I came across this album, and it's pretty hard to find, or maybe it's not as hard to find anymore, but it's not something a lot of people have ever known
So
of.
that's
I
like
highly
punk.
recommend
That's like
checking
punk
them out.
rock genre.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Gutter punk. And then this one here, okay, Emancipator. So Emancipator
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of these guys. Yeah.
yeah, and this is an album that was really hard. I got this all the way from Europe. Um, that was hard to find, very expensive too. But the music it's just so different, and he utilizes horns. It has kind of like a digital, like it's just a cool mix of
Yeah.
mashup of music.
Yeah.
This one here, Scarlett Johansson. There you see her. Lost in Translation soundtrack. They just reissued this. I'm pissed. I bought this. It was expensive, man. Like hundreds of dollars for this pressing, and they just
And
reissued
reissued it.
for like $30. I'm like, whatever. So that's one of the colored vinyls from Record Store Day. That movie, Lost in Translation, changed the way I saw Bill Murray. I was always a Bill
Yeah.
Murray fan, but dude, that movie is incredible. I love it. And this is the last one. Okay, so this will give you another idea. This is Vinicius de Moraes. I'm
Demoras.
terrible at saying that. Tokino and Maria. So this album is also from Europe and was kind of hard for me to find. Nothing local. I'd been searching forever, and it's. I think they sing in. Is it what are they? Portuguese. There you go.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, Portuguese. Beautiful music, amazing voices. Dude, I'm into everything.
Everything.
There's
Wow.
nothing you could show me that I probably would dislike.
Yeah. So here's a funny music story for you. Now
All right.
I grew up mostly teenage wise in the '90s, so the whole grunge scene, Nirvana, Stone Temple
Right.
Pilots, all these guys were, Soundgarden.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of years ago, I thought, I listened to a lot of inspirational music as a pastor, Christian, but I thought, I want to go back and listen to all of the. So I made this playlist in my iPhone of I called it Teen Years,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
So I'm driving along to work, and I'm at a stoplight, and I reached down, and I think I just put my wallet. I adjusted where my wallet was, and I go through the green light as it turns green, and whoop whoop. This police officer pulls me over, and he thinks that I'm driving with he thought I had my cell phone.
Oh,
And
dang.
I said, no, I don't have my cell phone. I had my car, and I got, I said, I don't have my cell phone. I had my AirPods in.
Mm-hmm.
It was in my van, actually, because it didn't have CarPlay or whatever. So I had my AirPods in. I'm like, no, I'm totally hands-free. I got my AirPods in. I'm just listening to my music or whatever. And the police officer says, well, what are you listening to? And I said, Mother Love Bone. Mother Love Bone, what the hell is that?
The
And I
hell?
said, well,
You're like, here.
I said it's a band that their lead singer, I can't remember the lead singer's name, but when the lead singer died, Soundgarden Soundgarden and Pearl Jam came out of Mother Love Bone.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
Nice. Yeah.
yeah. So, but he just, was kind of giving me this weird look because
Yeah.
Mother Love Bone is, yeah, who are they, right?
Yeah, right. He's clueless.
Yeah, but I listened to them back in the day. Yeah. All right, man.
That's
So
good,
let's
man.
do
Great.
the Pagani version of the Colbert questionnaire. It's a
All right.
straight rip off. And
This was fun, by the way. So I'm looking forward to this aspect of it. But
yeah, and I
this is a
hope
blast.
and again, I hope other people enjoy it. And I just wanted to get beyond the watch and just hope people get to know you a little bit better. So,
Thanks.
question number one, and just
Okay.
as quickly as you can. Best sandwich.
Tuna.
Tuna.
Love it. If it's got all the add-ons like lemon,
Okay.
celery,
All
salt
right.
and pepper, yeah, hot sauce. Okay, go on.
All right. What's one thing that you own that you should really throw out?
Old clothes.
Old clothes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
hoarder.
I've got a huge pile of, yeah, absolutely. What is the scariest animal?
Probably, anything in the ocean, but the great white, like that would I would crap my pants right then and there.
So Jaws give you nightmares growing up then?
No,
The big
but
black eyes?
I feel like no matter how fast, you could be Michael Phelps, you cannot swim fast enough if you're in the water with that.
Yep. Apples or oranges?
Apple, specifically the Honey Crisp. If you haven't had a Honey Crisp
Honey
apple,
Crisp
you
are
need
so-
to get them.
Yeah, they're good. Are they now? Where are they? Where are they native to Texas?
Probably, I think they're like from Chile or some other region. They're not. Yeah,
We got
they
them
could
up
probably
here.
grow
They're-
here, but I don't know.
Yeah, we have them up here from time to time in our grocery stores, but they're super expensive.
Yeah, they are
Yeah,
worth it.
but nice, nice. All right, have you ever asked someone for their autograph?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like I would know that.
Not that
I
you
don't
can
think
remember.
so.
any.
I don't think I've ever asked anyone, like gone up and hey, can you sign this?
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah, I
you,
don't
you
think
haven't
so.
met anyone famous in that regard, then? Like
I
that?
have, just I don't think I've ever asked anyone.
Okay.
All right, whatever.
Very cool. What do you think happens when we die?
An indescribable beauty and love.
Cool.
Yeah.
Favorite action movie?
Last Action Hero.
Last Action Hero.
It's a comedy action. It's full of action. That's it.
I haven't seen that one. So
Really? No way.
Last Action Hero. No. Do you know
Dude,
what I watched
Schwarzenegger?
last night? Last
go ahead.
night I watched. My wife was wanting to do, just find a new movie to watch. This is by no means a new movie, but it's called The Jerk.
Oh
with
yeah,
Steve
Steve
Martin
Martin.
from
Yeah,
1979.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, the scene where where he's the scene where he says things are gonna happen for me now because he's got his name in the phone book, and they cut to that guy Nelson, whatever Johnson.
Yep.
Sounds like a regular bastard.
It's
Dude,
good stuff,
I
man.
cried laughing. All right,
Yeah.
favorite smell.
Food. Look
Ah,
at me. Come on, food.
yeah. Least
I'm a
favorite.
eater.
Least favorite smell.
I don't know. Is this PG rated?
It,
Literal sewage is my least
ah,
favorite smell.
Shitter's full.
Yeah. I think most would agree with me there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's nasty. Most used app on your phone.
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, for
Didn't
sure.
do you do now I use my computer exclusively for uploading and that. Do you do your editing and all that on like right on your phone, or do you use a
No, no, no,
computer?
no. Yeah. I use a Mac. It's all done on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
So this is going to be a hard one for you, being that
Okay.
you have mentioned your musical taste. You get one song to listen to for the rest of your life. What is it?
What?
One
One
song,
song?
one song, or let's just say one album. One song or one album.
Smashing. Okay. Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy, and the Infinite Sadness.
Oh,
I could
great
listen to that
album.
album, bro.
Great
I
album.
I've yet to drop the $400 or $500 to buy it on vinyl, but that album. So the first CD I
Oh,
ever bought was Green Day Dookie, and followed up by Smashing Pumpkins, and that double album it changed
yeah.
my life. It's one of my favorite bands for
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
and
They're
who I have
great.
seen live.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, me neither. I first got them in the 90s. Again, that was one of those bands. And the album Gish.
Yes, yeah,
Oh my goodness, that first
good stuff.
boom. Oh my goodness, yeah. You get that
Yeah,
going in the car and you can get a speeding ticket really fast. Like, because
yeah.
you just
I and what I loved about that album was the with Melancholy is you saw the range of the Smashing Pumpkins.
yeah.
Like there, it was just incredible.
Yeah,
But
and I
yeah,
think of a lot of the bands, or maybe even all the bands, their build up to a song. You know, they kind of
yeah,
start some of their, not all their songs, but some of their songs. You know, they kind of start, and then when they just get it amped up and picked up, like, oh, the build up is awesome. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Good range.
All right, describe last one. Last one. Here we go.
Okay,
Describe the rest of your life in 5 words.
5 words.
Nope. Yeah, no pressure.
Okay. Living my best life always. There you go.
Nice.
All right. I'm always gonna be appreciative.
Right on.
Put that good foot forward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right on. Well, listen, man.
dude.
This has
This is
been
great.
so fun. So if
Yeah.
I'm positive most of the people watching this already know David, already have checked his channel out. But if by some happenstance you aren't subscribed to David Schwartz, go to YouTube. You see his name there. That's his channel name as well, David Schwartz. Check him out. You got to
Yeah.
subscribe to him. You're
Thank
watching
you.
this on my channel, so if you're so inclined, wouldn't mind you hitting subscribe to this as well. And thanks for watching. And now, David, I shouldn't have lied. One more question:
Okay.
Who do you want to see on Beyond the Watch? Who
Oh man,
who should I?
dude, really? You're gonna make me this?
Yeah,
This is
who
you're
should?
gonna put me in this spot.
No, no, no. It's this. No pressure, no pressure. But
Okay.
I know there's quite a few people that were like, "Oh yeah, David's going to be a great guest." Who would you like to see?
Man, I don't know, dude. There's so many great names in this watch space.
Yeah, there is.
Um, I don't want to say because then it's like they're
Oh,
gonna be like,
that I
"Oh, you
get
didn't
it. Yeah.
recommend me. You didn't recommend me, bro. I wasn't the first one you
You're
picked."
gonna get some
I
dislikes on your videos. All this.
They're gonna be like unsub from that dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that son
no.
of a bitch.
I'll tell you this though. I will say. Let me put it this way. There is just about you could pick anybody that I know of, big channel, small channel, and I will watch it. I will absolutely
Oh, cool.
100% be interested to learn more about these everybody I've crossed paths with the exception of just a couple. Everyone has an incredible backstory, incredible lives, and you can't go wrong. Whoever you pick is going to be an amazing follow up.
Yeah,
So
cool. Well, thanks for being the first guest. And again, this is,
thank
because
you,
I'm a
man.
people person, and I've learned some things about you today that makes me love you more, man. Absolutely.
Hey, likewise, dude.
So,
Yeah, hearing your story about you and your wife, that's incredible. Sweetheart, high school sweetheart, middle school,
yeah,
high school sweethearts,
high school,
dude.
yeah. Now, funny
Yeah.
thing is, in middle school, in grade 8, she did like me even in grade 8, apparently.
All right, there you
And
go.
she was
She
too
locked you down early, man.
she was too afraid to ask me to dance at like grade 8 grad or something like that, I think it was. And yeah, fast forward to music class like 3 or whatever years later, and yeah, we've been yeah. Now you don't have any kids yet, so when are you gonna have some? You're hoping to have some little niños coming soon, or
I don't know. I don't know if my wife and I, not that we're opposed to having kids, we're both very selfish. So I think we'd have to hire an au pair to raise our baby until until it's like at a manageable age where oh yeah. We're ready to be
yeah.
parents now.
I can say
Sounds so
this.
bad.
I can say this. I mean, kids are amazing, and they're definitely a blessing. But
Yeah.
it is stressful being a parent. Like, look at.
Yeah. Earned all that, right?
Yeah.
Look. I mean, I'm not ready to give it up yet.
Yeah, and the
I'll get
more
there.
and the older my kids get, like I got 2 in university now,
Mhm.
and you get talking to other parents, and it's like it never end. You never stop
Yeah.
worrying. You never stop.
Yeah. Right.
It's definitely the most gratifying and toughest gig in the world. Um,
I tip my hat to parents, man.
oh,
I've
it's
seen I've only seen like everything I've seen is just it's not 24/7.
yeah,
So I can only imagine the challenges and the love, the fear, the just all of it nonstop. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, man, we're gonna sign off.
let's do
May the
it.
Schwartz be with you.
And also with you. And please thank you. Everyone who has joined or subscribes, like thank you so much. And thank you, Chris, for hosting, having me on your show again, being on this platform and being the first has been truly an honor. And
Yeah,
it will
man.
always be a special episode for me. So thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. All right.
All right.
We're going to say goodbye, everybody, and hope you guys have an awesome day today and an awesome week ahead. And God bless you guys. We'll see you in the next one.
All right. Take care.